100. No matter how many times gospel queen Yolanda Adams smiled on stage, the cameras never captured the antics that went down behind the scenes. 100. After selling 10 million CDs in 2005, she went missing for a whole year. The truth is that she was going to therapy once a week and battled suicidal thoughts. 100. She was actually fighting the worst depression of her life and losing $200,000 due to canceled gigs while fans assumed she was taking a sabbatical. But it wasn't all she had to hide. 100. She kept quiet about the crippling disease that almost caused her to pass out in front of 5,000 people for more than a decade. Yolanda Adams came into this world in Houston, Texas on August 27, 1961. Of her 6 siblings, she was the firstborn. Major Nuda Adams, her father. 100. Made about $300 per month as a truck driver. Carolyn John Adams, her mother, remained at home to see to the children. An annual income of less than $15,000 was maintained by them. The going grew tougher in 1969 when inflation reached 5.7% during the 1960s. 100. About 30% of black families in Houston lived in poverty, and they resided in a small 2-bedroom house in the 3rd Ward. 100. Civil rights marches were something Yolanda heard about and seen firsthand in her neighborhood when she was a kid. 100. In order to keep the family going while her dad was away transporting freight across Texas, her mom would have the children sing hymns over dinner. Yolanda's passion for music started there. Unfortunately, they were in a dire financial bind. The outstanding balance reached $500 in 1968. Not even vacations or toys could they afford. 100. Yolanda began pitching in to assist out around the house, with her younger brothers tasked the moment she turned 9 in 1970. So quickly, she had to mature. 100. Little did anyone anticipate that this poor little girl would grow up to be the gospel music industry's undisputed queen by 2020. 100. With album sales of over 10 million copies, Yolanda performed Amazing Grace at her Houston Baptist Church when she was 3 years old in 1964. Her booming voice startled everyone in the room, with individuals starting to leave the region. The church's attendance declined 15% from its 200-member peak. In 1965, Yolanda's mother recorded her singing on a $50 cassette recorder. She imitated Aretha Franklin on one of the more than 20 recordings from 1966. 100. Performing at a revival with 500 people in attendance, she stood out in the choir at the tender age of 5 in 1966. She was referred to as a Little Dynamo. By 1970, there were about 100 choirs performing gospel music in Houston. Even a local priest in 1967 said she was going to be famous. The rediscovery of the tapes in 1980 served as a catalyst for her 1987 debut album, 100. She was able to pay for vocal lessons with the $5 she earned from each church performance, even though the family's annual income was less than $10,000 in those days. On those recordings, we can see how a troubled and passionate little girl blossomed into a Grammy-winning adult by 2005. Big changes were occurring in Houston's economy in the 1960s, and Yolanda's family felt it acutely. In 1965, her father's trucking salary was $40,000. By 1968, it had reduced to only $2,800. By 1969, the unemployment rate had risen to 6.5% due to the 20,000 jobs lost due to strikes and industry shutdowns. The Yolanda family resided in the 3rd Ward during their 5 moves from 1963 to 1970. After living in $80 tree-month rentals, 100, they moved into shared houses with leaking roofs. Riots and violent incidents, such as the one-man clash near Texas Southern University in 1967, caused rent to continue rising by 25%. Beans and rice were the main course most evenings for supper. To save 25 cents every day in 1968, Yolanda missed school lunch. When she was 8 years old, she started babysitting for $100 per hour. In 1966, her family faced eviction twice, but her mom managed to sew garments out of scraps and keep the family united. Through 1970, Houston's population had increased to 1.22 million. However, impoverishment persisted for nearly 40% of black residents. Through it all, Yolanda became stronger in 1999. 100. The fact that her smash album sold more than 2 million copies is proof of her strength. In the year 1969, she was verging on homelessness. Just in time. 100 though. The family was rescued by church donations. Everything changed for Yolanda when she was 10 years old. Her parents finally finalized their long-awaited divorce on September 15, 1971. 100. Carolyn struggled to raise 6 children on her own, while Major was away for days at a time on his trucking job. Child support payments of $100 per month were ordered by the court in 1972, but they were consistently late. The split was really painful for Yolanda. 100. She dropped 10 pounds due to stress and wept throughout the night. The siblings were divided. 3 accompanied their parents, 103 accompanied their father. The divorce rate in Houston had also increased by 30% over that period. When Yolanda joined the Southeast Inspirational Choir in 1974, at the age of 13 she found some solace after being crushed. In 1975, Yolanda enrolled at Sterling High School. She lost her father in the same year she turned 14. She found solace in music. In 1976, she started to really stand out in the school play and chorus. In 1977 and 1978, she won 3 local talent events singing Aretha Franklin songs including Respect and Natural Woman. The judges couldn't believe a 16-year-old could keep up with Aretha's expert notes. She felt more at home in a stadium than a classroom. According to one educator, she received her diploma in 1979 following a performance that had 500 people on their feet. She surprised everyone with her gospel R&B hybrid. Although I must admit that high school was not an easy road. She was teased because of her height when she was 6 feet tall in 1977. She channeled her suffering into strength. She made $50 from her first paid gig in 1978, 100, which was at a school event. Her sound was influenced by the eclectic blend of jazz during the week and hymns on Sundays in her home. She came close to dropping out of school in 1978 at the age of 17, when she was kicked out of a chorus for being too secular. However, her instructor encouraged her to persevere, predicting that she would eventually achieve stardom. She had already achieved fame in the choral world by 1980. Yolanda was bullied due to her height in 1974, when she was 13 years old, following the death of her father. She was nicknamed Giraffe by her classmates when she reached 6 feet tall in 1977, when she was 16 years old. At home she sobbed frequently, and at school, she was excluded from dances. In 1978, though, things started to change. She began modeling for local retailers like Foley's when she was 17 years old. Earning the 100 for each photo shoot, sudden self-assurance washed over her. She was 6 feet 1 inch tall by 1979 and had a desire of being a Paris fashion model, a dream that had been nurtured by her grandfather, who had died in 1978. Rather than giving up, she began modeling for church occasions in the beautiful gowns that would later define her personal style. In 1979, she stunned the judges in a teen beauty pageant by performing a gospel song during the talent portion, and she went on to win. There were 200 other girls competing. In 1976, she injured her ankle after being tripped by a bully, but she refused to stay down. She received standing ovations for her performance as a towering queen in a school play. According to Yolanda, the bullying really helped her grow stronger. Her strong choir performances in 1982 demonstrated that strength. Yolanda enrolled at Texas Southern University upon her 1979 graduation. Even though she intended to pursue a career in television when she was 18 years old, her love of music never really left her side. She sung in the school choir for 15 different events in 1980. With a crowd of 1,000, she managed to make $200 in tips during homecoming. She would earn $50 to $100 per church performance on weekends. While on a choir tour to Dallas in 1980, she had the opportunity to record demos in a real studio. At the age of 20, she suffered from voice strain due to excessive singing. She had to take 2 months off, but she returned even more powerful the next year. By 1982, she had augmented her academic pursuits with an internship at Channel 11. An acquisition of the corporation put an end to the position in 1984. Her path toward teaching was shaped by that setback. She performed "Oh Happy Day" with Edwin Hawkins at a small concert in 1982, and the song quickly became popular online. By 1984, she had already started directing rehearsals, fusing gospel with urban music, even when money was tight. Her family still came to her shows to support her. With their help, she was able to prepare for her 1987 solo debut. It was 1991. And Yolanda Adams was giving it her all. On April 1st, her second album, Through the Storm, which she had recently recorded, was released. Tribute Records signed her, and Ben Tanker produced the album. For gospel albums, it peaked at number 9 on Billboard's list. She went on to win her first Brilliant Award the following year for Female Vocalist of the Year in 1992. However, there was a harsh reality behind the accomplishment. Yolanda has played over 200 performances in 1990. The severity of her voice strain was such that specialists advised her to consider surgical options. But she persisted nevertheless. The title track, Hundreds, While in Pain, is her own. That, she remarked, was the heartfelt quality of the song. She was able to quit her work as a school teacher and pursue music full-time when the album sold over 100,000 copies. 100. She acknowledged in an interview from 1992 that she went 2 weeks without speaking after disobeying medical instructions. She was completely mute. Even though some tour dates had to be rescheduled, everything turned out well in the end. By 1993, she had earned approximately 5,000 zalazid from royalties. She teamed together with the Southeast Inspirational Choir to film the music video in Houston on March 15, 1991. Many gospel lovers were taken aback by the jazz-influenced sound. The vocal strain resulted to nodules on her chords, which she disclosed later. The summer of 1991 was when she began treatment, delaying the release of her subsequent album. Her third studio album, 1993's Save the World, came out 2 years later on October 19. 100. Not only did it win 3 prestigious honors in 1994, including Album of the Year, but it also peaked at number 2 on Billboard's gospel list. This time, 100, though, an audacious action was the source of the shock. The Good Shepherd was a song that Yolanda unexpectedly requested Stevie Wonder to play on. Then he went ahead and played harmonica at no charge. The song was recorded in Los Angeles on June 5, 1993, although it marked a significant crossover. Not everyone was pleased with it. During a 1994 sermon, Bishop T.D. Jakes slammed the partnership. He felt the message was diminished as a result. Tour was boycotted by 20 congregations. Even so, by 1995, the record had sold 15,000 copies. On November 15, 1993, 100, Yolanda justified her decision in an interview with Jet magazine. According to her, 100, over 1 million individuals who often wouldn't listen to Christian music heard the song. Traditional listeners were even astonished to hear some tunes with Latin beats. A 1994 Dove Award was also bestowed to the CD. 100. The Stevie Wonder duet reached 45th place on the R&B singles chart. Although the criticism helped Yolanda earn fans all around the globe, it also contributed to melancholy, as she revealed in 1995. While still signed to Tribute Records, she released More Than a Melody on October 3, 1995. Gold certification was achieved in 1997 after sales of over 500,000 copies. According to Billboard, it was the 4th best gospel album of all time. Got to Have Love, which was recorded in Nashville on July 20, 1995 and included Tony Terry, was one of the hits on the R&B charts in 1996. 100. The song peaked at number 10. However, Yolanda was engaged in a challenging legal battle behind the scenes. She filed a lawsuit against Tribute Records on January 15, 1996. From 1993 to 1995, she said they withheld royalties totaling $100 million. The label was allegedly taking 30% more than what was legally required. The case was won by her in 1997. In exchange for her previous catalog, she earned $15,001. Her tour plans were postponed by 6 months as a result of this. 100. She revealed in an Essence interview from 1996 that the litigation was about to bankrupt her. She owed $8,000. A duet with B.B. Winans titled What About the Children was also included on the CD, released in 1994. Surprising her fans even more, she covered Fly Like an Eagle, fusing pop and gospel. It all began in 1996 when Adam and Benson combined. 100 expenses were impacted by the transaction. By 1998, 10 additional gospel artists had found reason to sue, inspired by her court triumph, Mountain High. Valley Low, her 1999 album, was her breakout hit. Elektra Records released it on September 21st. It went on to become her most popular record. Its sales surpassed 1.3 million copies by 2009. The year 2000 saw its platinum certification. On February 21, 2001, it was named Best Contemporary Soul Gospel Album at the Grammy Awards. Open My Heart, which peaked at number 10 on the R&B charts in 2000 and was one of her most popular songs, received her first Grammy. She penned it on March 5, 1999. Following the tragic loss of her road manager in a car incident near Houston in 1998 on Interstate 10, he passed away suddenly at the age of 35. 100. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2000, Yolanda revealed that the tragedy left her feeling profoundly unhappy. That is the source of the music. It cost a pretty penny to make the album. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis produced it, and it cost $500,000. From April to July of 1999, 100 They were in Minneapolis working on it. Her late companion was also the subject of another smash single, Fragile Heart. 100. The gospel charts reached #1 with it. At number 24, the album made its debut on the Billboard 200 for a gospel record. 100. That was quite an accomplishment. Even among non-churchgoers, it won almost 2 million new admirers. In 2001, the court rejected accusations of plagiarism. During her tour, she visited 150 cities and earned $2 million. More than 500 shows were performed by her throughout the 1990s. On July 12, 1997, 100, she made her worldwide concert debut in Tokyo. 150,000 people watched her perform at the Tokyo Dome. However, a surprising occurrence occurred. During her concert, almost 200 of her local admirers rose to their feet in protest. Respect Japanese gospel, they shouted as they booed her American-style tunes. Her R&B and jazz style, in their opinion, 100, was too alien to the traditional hymn sound. After 10 minutes, security took them away, although it added 30 minutes to the concert's runtime. On July 13th, the demonstration was featured in the Asahi Shimbun, a Japanese newspaper. After the concert, 100, Yolanda expressed her apologies while clarifying that her artistic approach aimed to bridge cultural divides. 100. A mistranslation in the flyer referred to her set list as a secular invasion, which sparked the protest. The Asia tour nevertheless managed to make 300,000 despite all the drama. Seoul in Singapore was her subsequent performance venue. 100. Her album sales in Japan increased by 5,000 copies, despite her admission in a 1998 interview with Billboard that the episode caused her concern. Her tours made $1.5 million between 1990 and 1999, traveling to 40 states and 10 countries. 100. Her 2001 album Believe was released on December 4th by Elektra Records. It was her final album with the label Elektra before they shut down, and her 9th overall. It became a gold record in January 2002 after selling over 700,000 copies. It sold 67,000 copies in its best week ever. Written in reaction to the events of September 11, Never Give Up is one of the primary tunes. Karen Clark Sheard contributed to another song, Fox Show. 100, which was her first single following a near-death experience. Never Give Up was sung by Yolanda at a number of important events, including NBA games. As a result, the album peaked at 21 on the gospel chart and reached 42 on the Billboard 200. 100. Some felt that her whole vocal range was hidden by the album's production. Regardless, 100. She stated in an interview from 2005 that she remained committed to it despite pressure from the industry. 100. Anthems of Hope got a moniker for a number of her songs after her appearance on Oprah. She has approximately 10 million record sales by 2019 thanks to the album. Yolanda Adams launched her own morning radio program in 2005. 100. Over 20 markets got to see it. Belief, affection, and pardon were the show's central themes. It provided gospel music lovers with an uplifting and unadulterated option. Also, unlike most churchgoers of her day, 100. She was not afraid to talk freely about mental health. There was never any official confirmation, even if some sponsors might have pulled out. 100. She established the Voice of an Angel charity to aid students in 9th grade and beyond, all the way through college. Even in 2007, she was still going strong. 100. Having won 4 Grammys. During interviews, she would often encourage interviewees to keep their determination and even laugh with her daughter. 100. Because of her openness about recovering from trauma, she became even more relatable. She was already well recognized as the leading voice of modern gospel, with album sales of over 10 million. After enduring an emotionally and physically violent marriage to Troy Mason from 1987 to 1990, Yolanda Adams believed she had finally found peace in her 1997 marriage to former NFL player Timothy Crawford Jr. This new phase, however, was short-lived. 7 years later, in 2004, her world crumbled once more. Unbeknownst to her, 100. Timothy had been quietly withdrawing funds from their joint accounts and investing them in high-risk ventures. Yolanda ended up $500,000 in debt as a result of those disastrous deals. Funds weren't the only issue. Their daughter Taylor was born in 2001. 100. And the custody struggle that ensued was a tragic one. As she attempted to put her life back together, Yolanda stood alone in the courtroom. 100. It became clear through court documents that Timothy's actions during their marriage were emotionally taxing and even abusive at times. 100. His attempts to exert influence over her professional life and financial matters led to heated arguments. 100. And Yolanda said it was a sad season that made her question her beliefs. The pain never really went away, even when she gained primary custody of Taylor. 100. She vowed then and there that she would never again let love and money be entangled. After the humiliating details she had concealed from her fans were leaked in 2004, they finally knew the truth. Among Yolanda's most difficult struggles began immediately following her 2004 divorce. She had a severe case of depression around 2005. 100. She couldn't bear the burden of treachery, the stress of being a single parent, and the dread of rejection from her gospel group any longer. 100. Her public profile dwindled for an entire year. There was not a single public appearance, recording, or tour by her. 100. She was secretly battling suicidal thoughts by attending weekly therapy sessions. Depression brings on feelings of exhaustion, melancholy, and bewilderment. Even her life's meaning began to elude her. Fearing judgment from many in the Christian community, she chose to remain silent despite the immense popularity of her 1999 album, Mountain High, Valley Low. She didn't let her guard down until 2010. She lost close to $200,000 due to canceled gigs during that time. In 2006, though, she returned even stronger, channeling her anguish into song. 100. When the fans found out the truth, they were shocked. Yolanda may have appeared unfazed and powerful on stage, but behind closed doors, she was quietly struggling for her life. Then, in 2010, right as Yolanda thought things were getting better, she was struck again. This time, 100. Her manager, someone she had great faith in, was the target. In June of that year, she found out that her radio show, the Yolanda Adams Morning Show, which had been broadcasting since 2007, had $150,000 missing from its earnings during a routine audit. Over the course of 2 years, 100. The manager stole money from Yolanda using falsified checks and covert transfers. 100. She sold her Houston house to pay for the unexpected loss and the growing legal bills. To obtain some fast cash, she sold it for $600,000 after purchasing it for $800,000 in 2002. Even though she sued in September 2010, she only received $80,000 in compensation. 100. It was all but gone. Because of this treachery, she had to start over with her team and recruit forensic accountants. To preserve her reputation, 100. She stayed silent about most of it, but she was terrified on the inside. Ever since then, she has been vocal about the importance of financial literacy, urging her colleagues to avoid her mistakes. Problems reappeared in 2015. Timothy Crawford Jr., her ex-husband, showed up again. 100. This time wanting more time with Taylor, who was 14 years old at the time. They returned to a Houston courtroom on March 15. 100. Yolanda allegedly faced verbal abuse in 1998 when he allegedly branded her useless during fights about money. 100. According to shocking records revealed during the case, in 2002, she experienced a miscarriage due to an incredibly distressing situation. In Yolanda's view, he had been an absent father. 12 of the 15 scheduled visits in 2014 were omitted by him. 6 months and $50,000 later, Yolanda was still in the red from her legal battle. She triumphed once more on September 20, 2015. Timothy was ordered by the judge to have supervised visits, 100, and she was granted full custody. They were shocked. Taylor had never been seen in public by Yolanda. However, 100, they now understood the resilience required to care for her daughter, advance professionally, and battle personal demons simultaneously. 100. No one saw coming when Yolanda dropped a bombshell in an interview she gave in 2018. Fibromyalgia had been a constant battle for her since 2008. 100. Muscle tightness, fatigue, and discomfort that never went away were all symptoms of the chronic condition. It began when she was 47 years old, yet she continued to perform as if nothing was wrong. She almost broke during a single show in Atlanta on June 15, 2012. 100. She nearly passed out midway through the performance due to the excruciating discomfort in her legs. Still, 100. She managed to keep smiling during her 2-hour set in front of 5,000 spectators. Therapy, dietary adjustments, and medication helped her manage her sickness. For a full decade beginning in 2009, she abstained from gluten. To keep from looking weak, she hid it all. In 2018, at the age of 57, she felt prepared to make her voice heard, particularly for those who were struggling in silence. She wished everyone to hear the truth. She concealed her pain while she performed almost 200 gigs between 2008 and 2018. Because of that covert conflict, she became an icon of courage and perseverance. Yolanda released Becoming on May 3, 2011, which was just 4 years after her previous album, 100. There were 11 tracks totaling little over 40 minutes, and you could only get it at Walmart. With the track, Be Still, reaching number 4 on Billboard's Gospel Songs chart, the album was a success. It peaked at Faint 3 on the Gospel Albums list and Fan 99 on the Billboard 200. Sales were hindered by the album's limited release, even if it was successful. It did, 100, however, garner her 4 nominations for Best Gospel Artist and a major award. Despite what some fans believed, she had not been blacklisted from the industry. 100, she had independently departed from Elektra Records. This record came after the actual 13-year hiatus, not before. 100, Not Giving Up and Living Proof were songs about her personal problems, such as her 2004 divorce, using music as a tool for healing and inspiration. This endeavor once again demonstrated her strength. Her return to acting in 2022 stunned fans even more. 100. She made her television debut on May 19 in the role of gospel diva Danita Jordan, whose dark secrets were revealed in the Bay 8+ series Kingdom Business. 100. The program, which Kirk and Devon Franklin produced, exposed the gospel world's hidden drama, similar to her own history. 100. Yolanda portrayed a woman attempting to safeguard her power while confronting treachery. The crowds were taken aback by her performance. Season 2 of the show will premiere on November 2, 2023. The cast was joined by special guests like as Kirk Franklin and Tamar Braxton. People noticed a different aspect of Yolanda, even though she was not nominated by the NAACP. 100. She demonstrated that her acting chops were equally as strong as her singing ones. After 13 years of anticipation, Yolanda's debut solo album was eventually released on September 13, 2024. Sunny Days had 15 tunes and featured strong collaborations with artists including Terry Hunter, Sir the Baptist, and Donald Lawrence. Church Doors. 100. The main single had a hopeful theme and came with remixes. On the Tamron Hall show, she stunned everyone by doing it live. 100. Although the songs avoided mentioning Steve Harvey or any particular incident, they made their criticism of him quite apparent. Every song was an expression of her genuine anguish and eventual recovery. With the release of this album, she was about to go on a reunion tour alongside gospel greats like Kirk Franklin and Marvin Sapp. After more than a decade, fans finally heard the voice they had missed, and it was stronger than before. Yolanda is feeling better than ever in 2025, at the age of 64. The 33-date nationwide reunion tour began in September 2024. Ticket sales had surpassed 10 million by October, with 20 of those events sold out. However, 100, a devastating reality was divulged by her amidst it all. All of a sudden, her fibromyalgia had returned. 100. The 15th and 17th of September shows in Detroit and Kansas City were both postponed. To top it all off, she was in too much pain to do anything, including get out of bed and sing. Regardless, she continued onward, inspiring others to persevere. She turned her anguish into fuel. Her album saw a 40% increase in streams following the reveal. What might have been a breakdown became a triumph because to Yolanda. With an expected publication date of 2026, Yolanda revealed in early 2025 that she had inked a memoir agreement with HarperCollins. 100. Readers will be treated to hitherto untold tales in the book. Her split with Tim Crawford in the year 2000 is the subject of one chapter. 100. One more will show how she was put on the blacklist in the 90s when she turned down a record deal that wanted her to tone down her religious beliefs. She was unemployed for 2 years and lost millions of dollars. She spoke about how the anguish inspired her 500,000 copy album Believe in a January 15, 2025. 100. YouTube interview. A 1.2 million advance is attached to the memoir, and excerpts from it have been made public online. 100. She says she will be honest about who she dealt with and what happened so that other young women in the music industry won't have to. Taylor, her daughter, is now 23 years old and works closely with her mother in the family business. They debuted their YA Curves clothing collection in June 2024. 100. That came from a time in 2001 when people thought Yolanda's album cover was overly exposing. The congregation thought her outfit was too provocative. On air. 100. Even Steve Harvey felt compelled to defend her. That event changed her forever, featuring daring garments like capes and figure-hugging suits. 100. The collection is available in sizes XO24. There are 150 outfits. A 10,000 in sales generated $500,000 in the first month. 100. Embroidered on the buttons of the garments are words of empowerment and self-compassion, with a net value of approximately $2 million. 100. The company is planning to release handbags by the year 2026. Mother and daughter are transforming their shared experiences of pain into strength. Yolanda revealed yet another surprise in February 2025. She hinted that she would stop traveling altogether by 2026 in favor of acting full-time. Her hints pointed to a 2027 role as Arthur Franklin in a major biography. The inspiration inspiration actually came from her jaw-dropping tribute performance at the 2025 Grammys. Reportedly, she was promised $5 million by the Franklin estate. Seasons 3 and 4 of Kingdom Business, which Yolanda will star in, will begin filming in March 2026. 7 months in Georgia will be required for that, where she finally came clean about the fact that her body needs a break after 30 years on the road and 33 shows in 2024. However, she has no intention of escaping the limelight. It's only a phase transition for her.